Everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Oh my god, it's Afterbirth Plus. remember when that was the height of comedy? No, I don't remember. Never. Hey, you weren't there. WGDQ. 1Z7H. You can't stop me from going into this room. I knew it. I knew we were gonna break even. That's a little disappointing. Oh, what the heck was that? Did you see the speed that that guy operated? The rules of physics, air friction, turbidity, they don't apply to him. How did he do that? Anyway, we can't take glass cannon. It's just, I mean, come on, you know it. I know it. There's only one defense for glass cannon right now. If we got 9 lives, that would also function. But there's only one defense for glass cannon right now. And that is the let's just do it and be legends defense. I already lived not a long period of my life, but you know, a couple years of my life in college, according to that philosophy. I'm done with it. Now I'm the opposite. I'm, you know, let's not do it, and if you don't want to make me a legend, then that's fine as well. I would rather live a sensible life than a low risk of becoming a legend and a high risk of becoming a laughingstock. You know what I mean? No? Me neither, really. It kind of didn't really... It came out of nowhere, more or less. I am stoked. I didn't even mention it. The last episode, we were so strategically dialed in the whole time. Did a lot more moving yesterday. I know it seems like this move is never ending. It's honestly, it's for a couple of reasons. One is, it's very nice to move without having to move all of your stuff in one day. Two is, you know, the laws of the land dictate we had to give our existing landlord, you know, a lot of time, a lot of notice anyway to rent out the place we're currently in. Not that it's hard in a city with like a 0.1% vacancy rate, but regardless, you know, that's part of it. The other part of it is we've got a bunch of new furniture, which rules, but also meant that it's taken us, you know, we went to our new place, so the fridge was broken. Like, it doesn't actually work. So we had to wait like a week and a half for that to get fixed. And now we're like, we're cooking within the next couple of weeks. Well, within the next like week and a half, the internet will be hooked up and we'll be able to get in there. But, got a lot more deliveries, a lot more unpacking done yesterday, and I should be able to set up the acoustic foam in my office right after this video. How exciting is that? Yeah, okay, we're safe. You might be saying not that exciting. It's exciting for me because it means we're getting closer. For me, it's like, you know, in like every movie with like a romantic comedy where a young couple is expecting a child and they like paint like a little, like what's the word? A hot air balloon on like on the baby's wall. Not the wall of the human being. I mean the wall of the baby's room in their domicile. Help. Not a wise move for me there. That's me. Except I'm putting up acoustic foam. The room is... Isaac is my baby. The room is a metaphor. I don't know where I'm going here. Okay, at least there's a trinket. Sure. It's pretty bad, honestly, but that's okay. The most important thing right now... I mean, that's pretty good. I'll fight for that. The most important thing, I would say, is... well, that was so close. Try to keep your HP... high enough that you can afford to deal with the devil. If you can do that, it opens up the prospects of what you can take from that deal with the devil in a big way. Now, don't feel pressured. You know, it might be better for you to take a deal with the angel, to be honest. You might, or at least take your chances on a deal with the angel. Or the numbers might just not be there to begin with, which is, like, actually what it looks like is going to happen increasingly here. But, yikes. All that for a penny, huh? I am happy to have Little Gish, you know, on our side. It's not a huge improvement long term, but in the short term, it's making an immediate impact, and very thankful for that. Even if it's only like a 10% buff to damage, I'll take it. I think we actually do want Rosary Bead. Anything related to HP gets is a little bit more beneficial than usual right now. Apart from this, right now it feels a lot like our last run. We just kind of gotta let it ride. Preferably at some point pick up a key as well, although I'm not trying to be bossy about it or whatever. This one champion walking into us, I'm freaking, because I'm like, isn't this the champion that if it hits you with contact damage could do 2 hearts? I know there's like one super champion ended a streak by doing that. And it might have been the streak. Let me in. EricAndre.gif. It's alright. Lots of floor left to go here. And if we can't get to the item room, that's fine, because it's probably just going to hold a spacebar item we don't really want anyway. And because, you know, I'm not being bitter. I'm just saying. It's kind of the state of the union right now in Isaac. Maybe I mean, we've actually, from those, you know, dark days 3 weeks ago where we were playing Eden runs and just complaining about the game nonstop, we've really reversed morale a lot. And, you know, I owe the game a great bit of credit for that. I think we will take Lucky Toe here. But, I mean, there's still certain, in my brain, when I think about Isaac recently, I do think about a lot of runs that we've had where it's just like, hey, here's 7 spacebar items you can't use and a couple of range upgrades, go to town. I would say that this is worth exactly what we paid for it. It's worth approximately a key. Hopefully we get one more key, though, so we can go to our shop, where we could buy a key and open that golden chest, and also hopefully buy a spirit heart. For now, it's a little wonky. I'm nervous a little. It's not normally the way you say that expression in English. I'm nervous, ... a little. Maybe we could repunctuate. But I'm a little nervous about our situation here just because I'm not the biggest fan of the way things look for our upcoming boss fight. Take the bomb for now. We're kind of in a weird spot where we have exactly enough HP to take a deal with the devil and die. We don't have a whole lot of power, so we're like highly incentivized to take some deals with the devil here. What would really help out is any form of DPS from the boss. If we could get Magic Mush, obvious. Sorry, I was shooting at my own familiar there. If we can get Magic Mush, obviously that would be like one of the best, if not the best. Please have a key. I mean, that's actually pretty useful still, but not a key. At least it is not a difficult boss. Little lazy on the bomb plays there, but I think I don't know if I'd say it's worth it, like from a game mechanics standpoint, but like from a, you know, quality of life standpoint, using some bombs to, you know, minimize the amount of time the boss fight's gonna take is okay. So this is what I was a little nervous about. HP and then a deal with the devil that's tantalizing. Well, never mind. Turns out you don't know what you got till it's gone. The deal with the devil, not really that tantalizing. More completely useless. See you on the next floor. So we still have a good thing from the previous floor. We can get deal with the angel. Now it's low percentage here, like 17, but still, that's not that bad. We can work on it. But this run is kind of doo-doo right now. Uh-oh, stinky. I told you about TikTok. I've been watching more TikTok lately. Lots of great Lots of great content with the song that goes, uh-oh, stinky. Remember when that was the height of humor? Oh no, it's all come back. Almost got hit there. I think this floor is gonna be make or break. If we don't leave the floor made, I think we're gonna leave the floor broken. And if that doesn't illustrate the difficulty of learning the English language, I don't know what does. Present tense, make, break. Past tense, made, broken. Small rock? Okay. Okay. Now we're talking. That's a huge help. Okay, and I still walked into that, huh? And just stood there as that happened. Okay. Okay. Still, it's a small price to pay. We didn't have to pay it. Let's just consider it was a suggested donation of a little bit of HP. Like going to a museum. You know, you don't have to pay the suggested donation. You should, though, you know. If you can afford it, at least. What, are you gonna brag to all your other cool friends? Hey, bro, guess what? I went to the Korean War Museum and didn't even pay the suggested donation, dude. Bro, really? What? You're insane, dude. That's not a cool crime. I'm not gonna go on record as saying any crimes are cool crimes. What I will say is some crimes are cooler than others, and that one is not one of them. That I would describe that as an uncool crime. You don't get my support for that crime. You might not get my support for any crime. You definitely don't get it for that crime. That's how much I believed in the power of that. I was willing to give it 3 bombs. We didn't get it. It's frustrating, but you gotta go. I think that was a calculated risk. And if the bomb had hit just right, could have gotten big positives out of it. Please? Thank you. I can't really afford for you to miss that. I think this guy is scary enough. You do want him to eat the last remaining bomb. It might cost us tinted rocks, but we already have small rock. The best thing you can get from a tinted rock. Yo, it actually worked. Good tiers upgrade. We'll just take left, which is freaking Godhead. Oh, here it comes. Watch out, boys. It's a 1 run. Oh, no, here it comes. It's a God seed. That's Maneater by Hall & Oates. Band I've been listening to a lot lately because algorithmically Google Play Music determined I would like them, and then I heard a few of the songs and I was like, oh, first off, I know many of these to begin with, but secondarily, you're absolutely right. I forgot about some Hall & Oates songs. Everybody knows You Make My Dreams Come True, which is a great song. Everybody knows Maneater. Everyone knows You're Out of Touch, I'm Out of Time. Everybody knows You're a Rich Girl. But I forgot about a couple. Because your kiss is on my list. You know that. Anyway, I wasn't alive for much of the 1980s, and the very small sliver of the 1980s I was alive for wasn't really into any cool music. Mostly, you know, dun 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 yum dun 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 hey yum dum da da dum. Hey, ba boo da boo boo boo, snip it do, lit it do. I could keep it going, but you get the point. And I hope you know at this point, the main purpose of Isaac episodes is for me to entertain myself, which is why you go. Okay, I'm not gonna keep doing that. But it is on my list of the best things in life. Anyway, what was I talking about, Ruka? What was I talking about before I was so rudely interrupted by what basically came down to probably like a 0.25% chance. You know, first off, getting a deal with anything, then having it actually be a deal with the angel, then having it have Godhead, and us picking the right item of the two that were available. That's low percentage, so I'm taking it, dude. I'm taking it. Forgot what I was talking about. Doesn't really matter too much. We've been moving. It's been fun. We're closing in on it. Like, you're gonna hear that a few times, but we really are closing in on it. Some commonly asked questions people have: how are the cats taking to the move so far? They have not been in the new place yet. My intention, you know, I've moved with cats many times before. You don't really need to take them early. You can for your own amusement. But they're gonna have a day or two, I'm sure, where they're freaking out. But I want to make sure, for one, most of the heavy stuff is already in the place. Because I don't want, you know, me or movers to be tripping over cats that are freaking out and running all over the place. I also want to make sure any holes in the wall are sealed up, because, you know, they love to hide in those. When they're, I mean, the cat survival instinct is just absolutely awful. You know, whenever we have, like, a fire drill, they crawl under the bed. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? It's not gonna help. Anyway, where was I going with this? Give me the HP. They'll be fine. I think they're gonna like it. But they have lived most of their... Well, I mean, for Tomo, he probably... I mean, the cat's... What memory does cat have? Sorry. Let me rephrase. What sort of memories do cats have, you know? Have we ever done any kind of cognitive neurological studies in that regard? It's possible neither of these cats have any memory of living any place apart from the current places they live. Because we've lived here for like 5 years, and Ruka is like 6 and a bit. Tomo is like 6 and a bit, but a smaller bit. So strange way to... That's why we use, you know, the actual numbers most of the time when you're describing the age of an individual of any species, I suppose. I know champion belt, but let's be honest. Like, we need survival more than we need a little bit of extra damage right now. It's a pretty good get for us right there. I don't think we need... I mean, I know we're just going to turn our back on what I just said, but I think we do need, you know, Curved Horn, which is +2 damage, over Maggie's Faith, which is +1 Spirit Heart per floor maximum. So, I think that Curved Horn is way better than Champion Belt, though. They'll be fine. Don't worry about the cats. Well, hopefully we'll take some videos of them when they move in, because I hate to say it, but, you know, it's a little exploitative. But when cats move, they are pretty funny. I get that they're freaking out, but, you know, the only thing I really offer in my own defense is, I mean, first off, I take care of these creatures better than I take care of even myself, and I would throw myself into a volcano to save either of their lives, as irrational as that is. I don't get it either, but it's this honest-to-goodness truth. And the other thing is, that can't be reasoned with, you know? I can't go like, hey, Ruka, hey, Tomo, just realize it's just a new place. I'll tell you where everything is, okay? You don't have to worry about it. There's your poop box, there's your food bowl, there's your water bowl, and this is where we sleep, so you can come here and you can sleep in the same room as us, but not too close. Because you want to appear to be independent. Like a 13-year-old kid who had to get his parents to drive him to the mall. You want to maintain a safe distance of about, you know, 1 meter so that everybody else at the mall doesn't think you're with your parents, because that wouldn't be cool. You want to appear to just be at the mall and then have, like, 2 old people just weirdly kind of following behind you for some reason. Yeah, bro, those are my middle-aged stalkers who just happen to look a lot like me. They also call me son. Yeah, I'm getting a ride with them later. You want to come? Hold on. This is important, okay? So we're going to get a cube of meat. That's fine. We definitely do not want to skip 2 item rooms in a shop just to get the boss rush. That is a very foolhardy decision. That will almost 100% gate us from going to the boss rush. Well, if we were okay with missing the shop, we could, but we don't really want to go to boss rush either. But it's throwing me for a little bit of a loop because I also don't really want to walk back as far as we need to walk back to get to the shop. But I recognize that it's good for me, and you know, the merit is in the doing the stuff you don't want to do. It's not merely the reward that you get for doing the thing that feels like a chore. It's doing the chore itself as well. It strengthens the muscle that, you know, every responsible adult needs to have of doing things that they find unpleasant, frustrating, etc., because it's a necessary part to keeping your life in order and, you know, fulfilling your societal obligations and so on and so forth. So I'll do it. I'm a big believer in that philosophy. I mean, I can't even remember the last time we've had Godhead. I'm sure we've had it on this save file, but I don't know, once, maybe? Beats me, brother. But this run is basically set. If we could buy, like, another 4 Spirit Hearts, probably we wouldn't need all of them, but that would be maybe the number that just off the top of my head I'm comfortable with. That would really tie it together. There's another? There is another. Hey, what movie am I? No. There is another. Hmm? Yep, that's right. The Hangover. Remember when they found Doug on the roof of Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas? And then Doug said, wow, that must be the end of our last hangover. And then Ed Helms said, no, there is another. And then they went to Thailand. It's on my mind because The Hangover 3 was on TV last night. I mean, like, okay, I'm not trying to make anybody angry. Do you stand The Hangover 3? I'm out here. I'll defend The Hangover 1. I think The Hangover 1 is probably like the defining R-rated comedy of the 2000s. The decade, not the century or millennia. Millennium, I should say. That's not totally true. Borat is probably... Yeah, you'd probably go with Borat. But, like, it's up there. Tropic Thunder might be my favorite, but... I'm just, in terms of legacy and impact, you know, at the time especially, The Hangover was just, it was insufferable and it was everywhere. And I think The Hangover 1 is pretty good. A little bit, you know, starting to show its age, for sure. And not in a technical sense. But, I'll settle for 1, apparently. You know what? Let's just do it this way. Settle for 1 Spirit Heart. But, like, Hangover 2 is just the same movie. Like, and you know, people are like, well, Avatar is really just Dances with Wolves retold. Yeah, but The Hangover 2 is like, it's really just The Hangover 1, but retold. And The Hangover 3 just... It's what happens when you try to sequelize a movie that wasn't intended to be sequelized. Like Mr. Chow, the weird, you know, Vegas mafia boss, instead of just being like a character who succeeds. I don't know which one is which. A character who succeeds in being funny just because of his brevity in the film. Now he's like... He's part of the mythos, so the movie opens with, like, him escaping from prison, like, in the style of the Shawshank Redemption. Sorry, I missed a tinted rock there. Hold on, let me see. Is that Hangover 2 or 3 that was on last night? The Hangover Part 3. 2 years after the events in Bangkok, Mr. Chow escapes from a maximum security prison. Yes. Meanwhile, Zach Galifianakis causes a multi-car freeway pileup after he purchases a giraffe and accidentally decapitates it on a low overpass. God. What a waste. Let's see. Reception. Approval rating of 20%. It grossed $112 million in North America. That is, if I was a lesser critic, that would annoy me. But I feel like that's actually like so much lower than the original. Like, let me see. Okay, Hangover Trilogy. You go Hangover Part 1, please. Hangover Part 1. Grossed 400. Well, okay, it grossed 277 million domestic. Then the sequel, I'm assuming, usually the way that the pattern works is that the sequel is much worse, but does better because people go to see the sequel because of the strength of the original. But actually, it only made $254 million in North America. And then the third one made $112 million. Good God. That's how you know you weren't meant to make the sequels in the first place. I'm sorry that they still made a lot of money, but I also just saw, you know, the budget for The Hangover 3 was like $102 million, which is hilarious because, I mean, it's, you know, it's a comedy. How much, Bradley Cooper, be honest, how much did you get paid for that Hangover movie? Anyway, whatever he got paid, double it, because, you know, that's on his CV for life. What am I talking about? He's won an Oscar. Didn't he win an Oscar? No, not for Silver Linings Playbook or A Star is Born. Didn't he win an Oscar for Limitless, the movie where Bradley Cooper discovers the effects of Adderall? Let me out. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't remember at all. Except, I hate the Hangover sequels. They might be the most transparently profit-driven sequels in my lifetime. I'm trying to think. Obviously, there's probably other good examples. A lot of sequels are definitely driven by money, but I mean, The Hangover. I don't know anybody who saw The Hangover and then was like, boy, I can't wait to see what happens with Stu at the end of this movie, you know? Or in the cinematic universe, the Ed Helms-averse. If anybody was excited for The Hangover 2, you're just like, well, the team that brought you The Hangover 1 is making another movie, and they want it to be funny. You're like, okay, I'll give them a chance. That was our first mistake. By the way, you might say I'm being unfair to The Hangover. As someone that was 20 years old and in college when the first Hangover came out, I think I'm right in its target demo, and as a result, I can say whatever I please about the Hangover films. A lot of, you know, this is a weird way to phrase this, okay? But I feel like there is like an alternate universe. Well, I mean, this is better, to be honest. Let's just blow this guy up. And then per throw. See what you get. My shadow, pretty bad. We'll just be leaving then. I feel like there's an alternate universe where Zach Galifianakis didn't get famous for The Hangover. And I wish him no ill will. But I would love to see what Bizarro World Zach, what his career and his work look like. Because, like, I mean, you know, I was a snob, even as a teenager. I knew Zach Galifianakis as kind of this, like, comedian making kind of, like, absurd work on the fringes. And then, you know, the Hangover 1 came out, and you were like, oh my god, that's Zach Galifianakis. I've seen his stand-up where he plays the piano. And you're like, good for him. He's crushing it, and he was funny in that movie. But then it really did feel like he sort of got typecast as, like, this, like, naive idiot in every single movie. Like, he's got this movie with, Gal Gadot and John Hamm and their spies, and you know, even in like Dinner for Schmucks, he's sort of the same way. And I'm like, I know, by the way, he did Between Two Ferns in the Between Two Ferns movie. At the risk of sounding perhaps a little bit rude, the interviews on the Between Two Ferns movie are good. Very funny, in fact. The actual movie, it feels like a Saturday Night Live sketch turned into a movie, which is not a deal breaker for a lot of people. But it's like, it's very flimsily held together, which is fine. And it's just an engine for more of those Between Two Ferns interviews. But, you know, I don't think it's very strong, let me put it that way. And I feel like, you know, I want to be clear. I'm not besmirching his character in any way, shape, or form. You know, you got this out of nowhere after maybe toiling in relative absurdity for like a decade, maybe more. You get this huge big break, and you wanna ride it. You know. I think that's very sensible. But I also am like, man, I wonder what the 2010s would have looked like for Zach Galifianakis if The Hangover had just tanked. Not that I wish that it would happen. I'm hopeful that he's doing well and happy if he is, but I feel like, to be honest with you, as an actor, I don't really care for Zach Galifianakis. As a comedian, I do, though. I think we should, but it's very dangerous. This is a dangerous proposition, because we're going to be on one heart forever. We were on one heart before we took 9 lives. I just thought the damage was worth losing a life. It is spiced, though. I won't disagree with you there. But I think, if any... Thank you, I think. Unless we die, in which case, no thank you, because we're going to have to go all the way back. But, I think anybody who's like, you know, The Hangover 1 sucks. I think that's a little bit of revisionist history. Maybe it sucks now. I haven't seen it in probably 4 or 5 years. But it was a phenomenon at the time that it came out. Everybody thinks Avatar sucks. It made $1 billion at the box office. I didn't see it in theaters. Some of y'all who think it sucks probably saw it in theaters like 5 times. Well, the 3D was, oh yeah, okay. I don't know, that's probably a legitimate comment, but I had to shout you down before you got it out there and convince people you were right on that one. We'll take it, why not? This is an interesting run here, actually. Whoop! It's like people, and very similar movies. There are people now who are like, I hate Borat. You know, you can hate Borat. Look, Borat is extremely offensive. I get it. But I think Borat, it's very strange to say this. It's complicated, and I'm not saying this as a comedian because I'm not a comedian. I'm saying this as somebody who likes to laugh now and then. I think there's a complicated nature of comedy, or a relationship between comedy and offense. You know what I mean? Or offense, I should say. I think that Borat is offensive, but it's okay because Sacha Baron Cohen is punching up. Sometimes Borat says offensive stuff. Usually, the way I look at that movie as an adult, instead of just, you know, the way I did when I was 17, which was like, he said Pamela. Pamela! My wife, etc., etc. But the way I see Borat as an adult now is that he leaves these little breadcrumb trails out there that they make people with terrible opinions feel more comfortable, like they're in the company of somebody who agrees with them, and thus they feel open to saying those terrible opinions. So I always think he's setting like a little honey trap for, like, you know, I mean, basically every ist you could possibly imagine. That's the way I see it, and that's why I feel like Borat is actually, like, it's not really that offensive of a movie. What's offensive is the things that are being said by real human beings in it. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!